Welcome back to the final segment for this week's story. Okay, so we will be covering shoplifting. First, we will go through certain vocabulary for describing shoplifting, and then we will also go through the general conclusions for shoplifting, as you see here, okay, on the screen. Okay, so how do we describe the act of shoplifting first? So normally, the thief would sidle up to the loot, to the thing that he wants to steal. So sidled here, sidled means to actually move in a manner that does not arouse attention, okay? Or you can say he snuck up, okay? Then they will normally look around furtively, okay, as I was saying, look around in a very secretive manner to see if anyone is observing them before they steal. You can also say actually his eyes, or in this case Peter's eyes, darted left and right to make sure that no one was looking in his direction. Okay, this one, my heart, so this will be the thief. Narrator, I am the thief. My heart was pounding so loudly that I was amazed no one else heard it. So if you want to describe the nervousness of the thief the moment he was committing the act, you can use the pounding of the heart, or my heart was hammering against my chest. Okay, then when I ascertained, or when I was sure that no one was watching me, I seized my opportunity, or I grabbed my chance. My hand reached out and took the whatever thing you want to steal, the notebook, the pen, the thumb drive, or in this case the bottle of juice, okay, and slipped it into my pocket or into my bag, depending on how big the item is. Then normally you walk away nonchalantly. Nonchalantly means in a carefree manner, like nothing is wrong. Yeah, because that's how a good thief behaves, right? If you go around, you know, like Pink Panther, then it's quite obvious that you are stealing. Okay, just now, as I said, when we're doing the sample story, that normally there are two conclusions for such stories. Either you escaped or you get caught on the spot. But remember that teachers normally like stories with morals or stories with a lesson. So, if your thief escapes scot-free and he's very gleeful about it and looking for the next chance, well, some teachers who are more conservative may actually mark you down for contempt, because that's like the wrong value to teach. So even if you want your thief to escape, you need to make sure that your thief actually learned a lesson and would never do it again. So either the way we did it in our earlier story, where the thief was almost caught and it was so frightening for him, for Peter, that he swore he would never do it again, or this way, like I strode nonchalantly to the exit, half expecting a security guard to halt me on my way out. I held my breath as I stepped out of the shop. Only then I released my pent-up breath. I heaved a great sigh of relief. It was so nerve-wracking that I swore never to repeat it. So you see, you have to learn a lesson. Never do it again. Or here, you can be caught on the spot. I nearly jumped out of my skin when a heavy hand fell on my shoulder. My heart sank to the bottom of my stomach. My face burned with embarrassment. I pleaded for a second chance, okay, or you can say I was dumbstruck with fear, or my mind was a confused blur as the security guard led me to the office. So in this case, this is when the thief gets caught. Okay, now remember I said before that if storylines are simpler, then you normally score less marks. But if your storyline is actually more complex, it's likely that you actually score higher marks, provided that it's actually relevant to the story. So one way you can actually make such a story more complex is you try to have your thief running away, okay, before he gets caught. Like in this case, run away. I make a dash for it. After running for some time, I glanced backwards and saw that the police or the security guard was dogging me with grim determination. As I was looking backward, I did not notice the stone in front of me and stumbled on over it. Or you can say, I didn't notice where I was running and ran into a dead end. I was cornered. Then at that point, I realized the game was up. That means you realize that there was no escape for you, and decided, and so I threw in the towel. Threw in the towel means to give up. That means in this case you surrendered. Okay. Um. Okay. For the last 2 weeks, last week and this week, the stories that we have been doing, they're actually relatively simple, very little emotional depth. But actually, there is a way you can actually add emotional depth to this story. See, the boy was actually stealing a bottle of juice. If you want to actually add emotional depth, but take note that will actually make your story quite a bit longer. So you have to make sure that you have enough time to complete it in the 1 hour or so during the examination. Okay, but one storyline that I have come up with is actually the boy ran with a bottle of juice in his hand, and the policeman gave chase and followed him all the way to his home. Okay, like maybe the boy got into the lift, but the policeman like took note of like which so the boy thought that he had lost the policeman, but the policeman took note of which floor the boy stopped at. He went up to the floor and he looked in at every unit, at every flat on that floor, and he found the boy in a flat with an open door. And there he saw the boy giving the bottle of juice to his grandmother or his grandfather. And then you can say that the house was very the flat was very sparsely furnished, um shabby. The paint was old and peeling, shabby, rickety furniture. And so he realized that the boy was from a very poor family, and that his grandparents, grandfather or grandmother, had a craving for juice, but he couldn't afford it, and that's why he stole it. Now, in this case, you cannot say that no punishment at all, but you could say that the police gave him a chance and told him not to do it again. And it's like maybe even like the police could like recommend him to a part-time job or something like that. Okay, but you could actually add more emotional depth there, in the sense that in this case the boy was not stealing to join a gang or just stealing because he wanted a bottle of juice but he had no money, but he was stealing actually for a grandparent. But you have to actually make it work and make sure that the boy cannot just get off without even a slap on the wrist. He has to get out with a warning, and maybe what the policeman can actually do to improve the situation of his family. That's all for this week. Then I'll see y'all next week. Okay, see you then.